guys. So here we are with the Eleanor model GT500 Mustang 1967. And oh dear. This has popped off. It's the actual... Get in there. There we go. Little plastic piece for the fuel cap popped out. No biggie. Later on I'll use some model glue, some clear model glue, to fix that back onto the car. In the meantime, let's take a good look at this beautiful model from the movie Gone in 60 Seconds. And that would be the newer version, not the original. This is the car that Nicolas Cage drove. And this car brings back a lot of very pleasant memories for me, mostly just because when this movie came out, it was so enjoyable that I went back and watched it in the theater as many times as I could, probably at least, I don't know, 3 times, maybe 4. And obviously the scene where this car gets stolen is really amazing, and the long high-speed chase and so forth through the streets of Long Beach and different areas of Los Angeles was pretty thrilling. And of course, for me, it's always the moment when he gets in the car and turns on the engine. You start up that engine, it just rumbles. And in the theater, that experience was awesome. But it got to be a thing with the fans of the movie. Even just at the very beginning, all of the sounds, the different music introducing the movie definitely gets your blood going. And obviously, if you're a fan of classic American muscle cars, the 60s in particular would be one of the golden eras, you might say. So, sorry if you can hear a lot of noise in the background. It's a really cold, windy night in December. Actually, it's not December anymore. It's January 2016. So Happy New Year. I don't know why I keep thinking of it as December. I don't know. I actually can't wait for winter to move along and get back to the warm weather, although I can't complain too much. So, but as it's very windy tonight, you might hear our wind chimes in the background here and there. So, anyway, back to the movie. I know Nicolas Cage definitely gets his share of, people making fun of his acting style. And certainly combine that with Jerry Bruckheimer's kind of overwrought style as far as production and some of the characterizations the Jerry Bruckheimer typical bad guy is very one-dimensional. You just can't stand him. You hate his guts, and that's always the way they seem to be played. But it's still a cool movie. Obviously, to go back and watch now and look at all of the different kinds of cars, the particular models that were on the list of 50 that had to be stolen. It's pretty cool. They had a lot of really awesome models, or, makes and models of different cars, certainly Ferraris and other classic muscle cars. But this was, of course, the unicorn, so to speak. Of course, in the movie they said a unicorn is any kind of car that just you can never seem to steal successfully. Something always goes wrong. But I would imagine until this movie came out, this would be somewhat of a unicorn. Not too rare, but somewhat difficult to get your hands on a really pristine version of the car. I hope you can see that. The inside of the engine bay is particularly cool. And the detail is really amazing. I have to say, this is a model made by Greenlight, and it was not particularly expensive. We're not talking like, the level of an auto art or something like that, where you're, looking at 3 figures or more. But, this is probably a little bit nicer than your basic Maisto model or something, although those are getting better all the time. And were always pretty decent quality for being such a value, being so affordable. But yeah, I'm really pleased with the detail of this model. Everything works. The steering wheel and the front wheels are connected, so you can see that, you might be able to see that the wheel inside the cockpit is rotating as I turn the front wheels left and right. So yeah, pretty good. And it feels really chunky, heavy, robust, which is good for a model because you don't want it to feel too fragile when you're handling it. Of course, serious collectors probably avoid handling their models too much, but when you do, you do want to appreciate it instead of just looking at it sitting on the shelf. So it is very nice when the parts work. This door is still pretty stiff, but it does open pretty far. Trying to remember some of the original thoughts about when the Mustang was conceptualized and became a pretty popular car. Maybe remembering this wrong, but I think that it was thought of as marketed to women a lot more. But hey, most of the serious car chicks that I know, you don't need to do anything special. Obviously, they want the same muscle, the same styling as a guy would want. So yeah. So, with such a beautiful car like this, I really like the paint job, the silver and black, and the really cool little blue lights in the front, right here and here, and the grille, and the little two lights down here. Just very cool styling. Of course, the fastback shape. So at the end of the movie, I don't want to spoil it, but when he delivers the car in the condition that it's in after being in a long, drawn-out, high-speed police evasion, it just breaks my heart to see the car in such shabby condition. It's beat to hell, you know. And of course, you know, the treatment it gets after that is even worse. You know. Here's the rear end. I mean, yeah. Again, not to spoil it, but it will break your heart to see a car treated that way, even though it's just for the movie. And I'm sure, you know, you go to enough car shows, you might eventually see one of these. But here we go with the back. Now let's see if you can see what's inside. Yeah, check that out. The little blue bottle of nitrous is tucked in this back little compartment. I can hardly call it a trunk, it's so small. But there you go. I like this little tiny lip that you have on the very end here. I suppose that gives a tiny bit of extra rear downforce at high speeds, maybe. Let's turn it around one more time. Let's see if we can give you a view inside the cockpit. Alright, here we go. Yeah, there we are. And again, inside of the cockpit is very detailed as well. So, pretty awesome. Check out the underside. Cast cap cover fell off again. I'm gonna have to definitely get some glue for that, but there you go. You can see again all this detail underneath here. It's beautiful. Look at that. Even the drive shaft and all of this back here looks like a solid axle in the rear, and the fronts are independent. Beautiful. I love these wheels too. And the spokes are really cool. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, this car, I mean, I can't say I've always been a huge fanatic for Mustangs. I like them, but this car definitely kind of awakened more of a liking for them, and just, I don't know, the car, the movie, obviously fires your imagination as a gearhead for sure. And it just had so many cool supporting characters, in the movie. I really enjoyed Delroy Lindo as the cop trying to catch him, but, who still has a heart. And I don't know, he's good in any movie I've ever seen him in, and, usually is some sort of secondary character, but yeah, always, intense and cool, and I don't know, he does pretty much any kind of mood really well, so, yeah, and obviously, probably my favorite Angelina Jolie character ever. I don't know, sometimes she can be a little overdramatic in some of her roles, but in this one, being a sexy and very competent mechanic and, car thief and driver, I guess, that was really fun to watch. And she just looked cool in that movie too, so from the behind the scenes of the movie, I think it suggested that she had a lot of liberty to design that character and the wardrobe and everything, so it's kind of her that came up with being, the blonde hair that was almost in like a dreadlock kind of thing, not quite, and just, her wardrobe, the kind of clothes she wore, everything, so, yeah, I think that was pretty cool. Alright, well, yeah, I'm running out of time and battery power, so hope you enjoyed that little look at this car. Again, one of the favorite cars in my collection for sure. It's definitely the first movie car I've ever bought, so we'll see if I can think of some other ones to add. Maybe I'll have to get a Bullet Mustang for Steve McQueen to keep this one company, so I don't know, we'll see. Alright, well, enjoy, and thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great night. Bye-bye.